Welcome everyone to episode number 13. 13 of Friendly Differences 2.0. And with us today, I have my co host, Professor Lloyd. I always get the, I never know which way to point. So,
Right.
so, and coming back is our guest co host, Sean McDermott. Welcome, welcome. And we have another guest, Impact. She is on her way. So today, guys, we are just doing open um, discussion. This is an open talk. We are going to talk about, for me, anything goes. For me, anything goes. Sometimes my mouth just gets me in trouble, but I do not regret a thing that I say. So
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
So I can open it up. Do you guys have any world news or anything y'all want to talk about? Because I got a couple of things I want to talk about.
Oh yes. Well. One thing I want to talk about is one thing that I'm sure people that watch us want to know is about our hobbies and what do we like to do in our pastime other than this show, because other than these discussions we have, I want them to know who we are and what we're really about, right? It's one thing to watch a person and another thing to actually know intimately who the person is, what they think about life and everything else. So even before, I say, so before we jump into 100%, things about the repeal of affirmative action, before we talk about them trying to block the student loan forgiveness, we have this Rand Paul comes up with his thing and he says the stupidest thing. Rand Paul literally says that he doesn't agree with the paying sports figures, and he literally says that he thinks that paying sports figures. What he say? He said pretty soon we're gonna be seeing rappers on the basketball court instead of basketball players.
Wait, wait,
This
wait. Oh,
the
wait.
dog quote.
I didn't hear that comment. But so does he
What
mean like people
he says? He says these.
like Michael Jordan, Steph
No,
Curry?
no,
Or,
he's saying these. No, he's saying college players who get paid. He said.
oh,
He said basically he's all. We don't need college players. Basically says like all these college players who getting paid this and that. They're probably riding around on campus and the way he said it, in Bentleys and Roses. And now we're gonna have gangster rappers instead of basketball players on the court. So he basically just told us all these black people that are getting paid. They're
well,
basically,
but that's something new, right? Isn't that something that's because before they weren't getting paid and they were like, we're bringing the millions of dollars to these schools, and we're not even you all won't even give my family a ticket to the game. So isn't
well,
that
yeah, right.
something relatively new that they're
Yes,
getting paid?
yes. My son just started. He got his first endorsement. In fact, this past year, he gets endorsed by this EO3, something like that. I forget what it's called, but it's a little sports drink. He actually gets he has to make two social media posts or three. So I forget his contract. That's between him and his contract, right?
Right, right.
We just made sure everything was legit. But the thing is, he got upfront money, and then he gets paid every month as long as he keeps up with his obligations contract, because they pay for your image and likeness. It's if I'm doing something, if it's my image and my likeness, okay. So this all started because EA Sports a while back,
Right,
and,
right,
and it was a video game, EA Sports
right.
video game.
Mm-hmm,
It was a college game,
mm-hmm.
and people like Chris Webber and stuff like that. What happens is, one time Chris Webber was like, "Hey, I'm at the University of Michigan. I see all these people walking around with my jersey on." He said, "I walk into a place to buy a jersey for my family." He's like, "I can't even afford my own jersey."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so, we're not getting anything. We're here to play. We're bringing in millions of people, millions of people in the audience because of us. And then they started playing, the football games. So when people start playing the football games, people were like, hey, that person is me. That's my ratings. That person, because the college football game, they didn't put the name on it, but they put your number.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that sound like? Doesn't it sound like basically Rand Paul is saying, yes, I'm going there. I'm about to go there.
Go there.
Y'all shouldn't get reparations.
Well,
I mean, seriously, it's like we're doing all this work for you, whatever, and we're making you rich, but y'all just gonna stay there, and whatever. We not gonna pay you.
he didn't say nothing about women's softball.
No.
He didn't say nothing about soccer. Remember, all these college sports, you can now get a stipend or a paycheck now.
Mm-hmm.
Or well, hold on, you get a stipend. That's one. You
So
get a
he
stipend,
was
but
specific in the sport that he talked about.
basketball was specific, and who is over 90% represented in basketball, especially NCAA basketball.
Oh,
Black
Right.
men.
There you go.
so
And I mean, and the way he said it was just egregious. He was just basically, I remember when we used to love watching these these junior players that they play without money. It was great to sit down and watch them compete, hoping that they could one day get a contract, and they did this, they did that. But but now he says, but now you see them driving around in Bentleys and Roses. I'm like, what students is he talking about driving around in Bentleys and Roses? In fact, when my son got his my son, because he gets a stipend, and he's also because of my disabilities in the military, he was getting what you call Chapter 35. And when you get Chapter 35, he gets a small paycheck from the VA based off of my disability. And so he gets his Chapter 35. And so my son, he went to the car lot and he said, I wanted to get a used car, and he got this BMW or any car you get. Your school makes you show whose name is on it, how you're paying it, and everything else, because they want to make sure that boosters and coaches are not paying you money to do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the law. But the thing is, now that they can get paid for their likeness and image, which I agree with, if you're out there, if I'm making you millions of dollars, I think I should get paid for my likeness and image.
Well, yes. Welcome, Dred. Welcome, Sean. Dred, Sean.
We're talking about Rand Paul's statement about the black basketball players. Have you heard about that yet, Dred?
Not yet. What's going on?
Okay, let me catch up real quick. So Rand Paul comes out with a statement about student athletes getting paid, and what he says is, I don't think that they should get paid. I don't agree with it, and he basically says, you see, and he only says basketball players, and so therefore staunchly 90% represent black young men, and he says, you don't need these. He said these basketball players are driving around in Bentleys and Roses, and he said, we don't need rappers on the court. We need basketball players on the court.
But again, that's just typical Rand Paul stupidity. I mean, it's like, when people say things, I've just gotten to the point where certain people, I know they're going to say certain things and they're going to sound stupid. People can say the same thing about me. I know Sal's going to say something, whatever. But, just the stupidity of Rand Paul, it's just, it's just Rand Paul. I would like to share a video. Now hopefully it'll work this time. I last time, Sean, my whatever. Anyway, I would like to share this. In fact, Baby Cakes sent this to me earlier, and I had not heard it. And this is from. Hold on for a minute. Let me welcome some people in. I'm welcoming you guys in. I'm sorry. I like to welcome people. All right. So I am going to try to share this time and see if I can do this.
I wish we could have shared that Rand Paul, because you could find it. You can find how he said it. I wish we could, But
I will look for it. Okay.
And by the way, none of them believe in affirmative action.
Do you hear that?
You're trying to tell me if Sheila Jackson Lee.
Can you all hear this?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight 781 with nonstop service from Houston, Texas to Washington Reagan National Airport. I want to tell you that we have Sheila Jackson Lee on board, and in the spirit of affirmative action, we have Ramon and Cadillac are your two pilots. They've never flown before, but they are black. Sheila Jackson Lee would be like, forget it, I'm off this plane. She would jump like, I ain't flying here. They don't believe it. Yeah, Andrew. But Ramon and Cadillac did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and they're black. Who cares? I don't care the color of the skin of the pilot. I care, are you there because you earned it? My favorite word in the English language is earn. We should not give people things they did not earn. If you can't play in the game, then find another game to play. America needs to be a country that pursues excellence, not rewards mediocrity to appease the clamorings of an activist class.
Wow. If I was there right now, I would say that was very white of you.
Okay, and apparently this guy dropped out of junior college. Okay, so you drop out of junior college. He went after Justice Ketanji Brown and Michelle Obama, but this is a man who dropped out of junior college. So I'm just saying. So again, this is the stupidity that we deal with, and that, this is the stuff that pisses me off. This is the stuff that it pisses me off.
Sounds about white, though.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about white. Mm-hmm.
It does. It does.
I mean, seriously. And then you notice the stereotypes with the Ramon and Cadillac. So basically, you're saying that Black people aren't qualified to do anything.
But you know who only says this type of stuff or makes these tropes? Are in honest to God truth, it's white people who have failed to manifest a superiority that they were prescribed to. In other words, when they don't meet the level of what they're supposed to be, they blame everybody else. It's affirmative action. The reason why I failed out of junior college. It's this. I mean, it's the whole thing is I'm supposed to be the superior race, and it did not manifest in my life, and it was supposed to be prescribed to me, and I'm supposed to be the person with privilege, and because of that, I have to now dump on other people to make myself look more superior again. That's all it is.
But before affirmative action even came about, before that even word that saying was a word or whatever, they were getting things handed to them, and they were still failing and dropping out and not succeeding. I mean, again, I got to go back to the Tulsas and everything, because why did so many Black communities thrive? Why did they thrive? And white people just got so upset that we were doing better than them. So it's like, they always had this. So how come y'all couldn't take what you all had and do something with it? But then when we do something with it, all of a sudden it's like, well, they didn't earn it.
It's easy to build when you're making people work for free. I mean, that's one of the things I always say in my videos is that Black people didn't become the problem until we stopped working for free. Now, as for junior dropout asshat over there, first of all, affirmative action did not benefit Black people. It benefited white women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're not going to sit here and pretend that affirmative action leveled the playing ground for us, because it didn't. Because if you go through Harvard's roster and everything else, they're still having legacy students. That's why they're getting in. You buy your way in.
Well, I have a question about affirmative action, right? When we look at affirmative action, we're talking about affirmative action universities, and affirmative action universities. And this is what a lot of people don't understand about affirmative action. And if you ever hear different people about case of reparations and affirmative action was supposed to repair and give an advantage to those ADOS, basically African descendants of slavery, anyone descends of slavery, and give them opportunity. But what happened is when affirmative action came, it started giving it to anyone that came in. So therefore, if you were a foreigner, if you were a students from overseas, whether it be from African exchange student, or an African student, whether you be from Hungary, whether it be from China, whether it be from anywhere in Asia, The thing is, they would come and affirmative action would give them an opportunity. Well, the thing is, affirmative action was started to be given to everybody. And as far as in the work realm, white women was the main beneficiary of it, right? But as you can see, but other people outside of descendants of slavery was actually taking advantage of affirmative action more than just, trying to correct the wrong for not allowing black people, during Jim Crow and everything else. So when you look at affirmative action, I think a lot of people look at it like, well, this person affirmative action. No, affirmative action was supposed to repair XYZ, but the way they wrote it, it allowed everybody and their grandma to come and get a piece of that pie. And so that's why you have people from, you say, hey, this person got into this college from overseas. Well, affirmative action helped them out too. Affirmative action helped out all these different exchange students and everything out too. So I don't think it panned out the way it was supposed to. I think for affirmative action, although it helps some people, and hear me out when I say this, and then maybe I'll write something on this one day, but I think the failure of affirmative action is equal to the failure of Reconstruction. That's just me.
Well, in order for it to have been reparations, and in order for it to have been reparations, they would have had to have been sorry about slavery. You see, now we're going to get down to what's true. We live in a country, even in 2023, where people are still saying, forget about slavery, get over it, get over it, get over it. That's why they made affirmative action, or they made it open opportunity to all, because they're still not sorry about what they did. We're told, never forget 9/11, never forget the Holocaust, never forget Pearl Harbor. But Jim Crow and slavery, oh, we need to get over that. We need to get over Breonna Taylor, Philando Castile, Freddie Gray, Trayvon Martin. The list goes on and on. So, yeah, it was supposed to be, repairing what was, but they don't even want to acknowledge what happened. They want us to forget about reparations. Oh, like this this palm-colored fat woman. She decided that she was going to say that Juneteenth was bullshit. And she brought up the Jews. Oh, you don't see the Jews saying "gimme, gimme, gimme." That's because Germany is still paying reparations for the Holocaust there. And as I said,
so America
they can't afford it. They cannot afford to pay every descendant of slavery. Look at the cotton industry. The cotton industry in today's currency would be well over $1 billion of reparations. Oh, yeah. That's just with the free labor they got. They can't afford it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They didn't have a problem with taking away affirmative action because some people fell for the okie doke. It was bullshit. It was a straw man.
Well, the Supreme Court, when they come back and convene, they're actually going to put the full affirmative action on the chopping block now. That's what a lot of people don't understand, that the school affirmative action was a precedence that they were going to set for the real voting. And the real one, I think that one is we're going to hear a lot more about that when they come back and they really start talking about this affirmative action, not just in education, but affirmative action in jobs. And basically they're trying to go after affirmative action, period. And once they attack that, we're going to see what's going to happen in this American project.
Well, I told a guest that's going to be on with us in 2 weeks that once they got rid of Roe, then it was going to be open season on everything. And he was like, no, I don't think so. I think you're wrong, Sally. I think you're wrong. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's going to be open season on everything. But can we switch gears for a moment? Because there's another video that I want to show. And this pissed me off a lot. This time my festivity is with Black people.
I want to hear Sean's thing. I want to hear Sean's on this one too.
So Sean, did you want to add anything before?
So all this sounds like is more of the same when it comes to my community. They're upset that there is Black excellence taking place in front of their face, and they are very upset about that. So when they find out that college players are making from from their likeness, that affects them because they're like, wait, hold on. But isn't most of these sports organizations made up of predominantly Black men and women, right? That's where their mindset goes. They don't understand that, listen, the only reason why you attend these games is because of these people who are going out, putting their bodies out on the line for your entertainment. They deserve some type of compensation for that. Absolutely. And it's not just going to the Black men and women of these leagues. It's going to all of the players. If they're good, they're going to get more. That's what happens. But in a way, it's actually allowing these college players to take care of their families that are still living in poverty. Yes. That is that they're failing to see why it's so important. Allow them to provide for their families while they are attending college. That's a way for them to generate that generational wealth. Because if you're stipending in money and it's thousands of dollars, that is helping their family. To me, it's a win-win situation. But when you talk about white men in these spaces who are talking negatively about Black men, that's a problem. I mean, we've seen it with the one young lady from Louisiana, right? LSU, Reese. Mm-hmm. We've seen the way that they were talking about her and the words that they were choosing to describe who she is.
Yep.
So to me, this feels very Don Imus, and everybody knows what.
Oh,
yeah.
Bring up the name, Imus. Yes.
Yeah.
Put him on blast, Sean. Put him on blast.
It's just something that cis straight white men do. They try to attack something that they're afraid of. So they'll say these ridiculous things with no research, no validation behind the statements that they're putting out, other than encouraging more white people to feel emboldened in their racism.
Wow.
Okay. All right. That was a statement. All right. Okay, so I'm going to show another video, and y'all, I've been lectured to about some comments that I make about my own people. Again, I do not take back anything that I say. I stand by what I say, but I'm an equal opportunity person when it comes to.
Let me put on my seatbelt.
So I am going to show. I'm going to start. I'm going to show y'all something. And when I saw it, I was so disgusted on so many levels. And y'all just tell me if and Lloyd, you know how I feel about the N-word being used amongst ourselves. I don't like it. So, but we gonna take this to a whole nother level. So hold on. So, all right.
Did you know that there's a simple combination of natural ingredients that will help you poop out pounds of old rotten waste in your colon within just a
Battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster.
Hold on.
The known racist, white nationalist, individual who believes in regressive policies to stop the progress of Black people, Nick Fuentes. Well, they went on a podcast, and this is what happened.
Well, you can say it.
Say it. Come on, man. I want you to say it.
For real. Yeah, what you got?
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Is anyone going to hit me if I say it?
No. Let's go. 2 hours. Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right.
So they wanted a known racist to say the N-word in front of everybody. They decided to encourage him to do so, made it a game, a joke, something playful. Understand the inclination to platform someone who has opposing views. I do that here myself. But I do it in order to provide challenge to the negative, hurtful, and antithetical commentary and positions they hold. You see, policies kill people. Bad policies kill people. He supports bad policies. Individuals make laws based upon his white supremacist organization. And these laws have a detrimental impact on communities around this nation. It is no laughing matter whatsoever. And I will say this to the two gentlemen who founded the podcast, and let's put them up full mass. A lot of people appreciate and enjoy the podcast. I think some of the content is actually noteworthy. However, in this moment or in that moment, I think that was a historical mistake. I want to say this to you, gentlemen, Mr. Walter Weeks and Myron Gaines. We teach people how to treat us. And when we teach them how to treat us, by way of either bending over in places we should not, let's keep the picture up, by either bending over in places that we should not, or by challenging individuals appropriately. We then
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So you all pretty much get the gist of what was said. So I just want to know, what do you all think? Because I was pissed. I did not think it was funny. And this is one reason why I do not like that N word within amongst ourselves. We do show people how to treat us. We want people to treat us in a certain way, but yet we allow them to hear us using and saying things a certain way. It may be, fine for some people, but for me, I'm sorry. No. So thoughts?
So Nick Fuentes, a known white supremacist. Like, that's just something that people have known for quite some time. Reason why they want this person to be on their podcast is to generate likes and shares, because controversial. Like, this is what society has become. Come and watch our shit show. That's really what it comes down to. And I'm cursing, but that's what it is. That's all it really is. It's about them going, hey, did you see our numbers after that episode aired? Do you see how many hits we got? And really, it's actually disgusting, because that man does not care about anybody on that panel, not one, because he believes in a set of beliefs where he believes he should be at the top of the food chain and everybody else sits below him.
Well, what's sad about it is that I'm saying to myself, when I'm watching this, I said, this man went back amongst his buddies and saying, y'all, did you see what I did on that show? I just said this in front of a bunch of ends. And it's like, are you all that? I mean, seriously? I was offended. Now that's something to be offended about. So,
well, I think what happens is there's a book I'll call there's a book, and I say the title. The book is actually called Nigger, right? And it's called the troublesome career of the word. Very good book, and it talks about the troublesome career of the word. And also, Dick Gregory has a book called Nigger. There's also
I've read his book.
There's also a book by H. Rap Brown called Die Nigger Die. All these people have written these wonderful books. I was gonna get up and get them just so I could show it to the people so they could see them. But the thing is, when you talk about the history of the troublesome word, and as Q-Tip once said, I don't know if y'all listen to Tribe Called Quest. I know my man Sean does, but he actually talks about he has a song called Sucker Nigga. Nigga, I throw a sucker in the front and the ones who are. And he says, and he literally breaks down the word even in that little part right there. But what we find is we have a lot of people putting their brain on display, whether they be white or black. They're putting their brain on display. You have these black people. I like what Sean said. See, the thing is, the gram. They do it for the gram. They're doing it for the tube. They're doing it for the likes and shares, the clicks, and any publicity is good publicity. If I get people just talking about who we are, we get more people to come to our page. And now here we are. We have this known racist, and we tell him to feel comfortable in the midst of us and say what he wants to say. And if you go back into, and I've been doing a lot of extensive research on slavery and especially slave revolts. And I have this book literally called the What the Negro Thinks. The book was written back in, I think it was 1946. It's called What the Negro Thinks. And the first chapter is literally talks about what do black people think about each other. Then it says, what do black people think about white people? And there's we have to understand that we were forced to live amongst them. They were never forced to live amongst us.
Exactly.
And so what happens is when we had our women going into their house, feeding their children, making sure all this was done, we learned who they were. But you never seen where they came and lived amongst us. So we've always had this turtle shell that whenever they came around us, they were like the 6 blind men who are filling around the elephant. They don't know who the hell we are. And you now let this person into our governance of who we are, and you let him into our damn house, and you let him eat all our damn food. You let him throw up all over our kitchen, and now we got to clean up the damn mess that we have made in our own community. We made that mess when we let his ass up in there to say what he had to say. And so, yeah, I'm with you on that, Solid. I am disgusted about what we did during that time. And I like how he said, hey, about them guys, man, I would have cursed them guys out for allowing that to happen. I would have cursed them out. You don't let somebody come in your house and walk around with muddy ass shoes and put their feet over your white doggone couches. And that's exactly what they did. You let this known racist come up in here and call you what he thinks you are, and y'all sat around and laughed about it. Women sitting there smiling. The man sitting there talking about, yeah, he said it. Yeah, he said what he thinks. Well, guess what? Yeah, and y'all let him do it. And so
see, my thing is, I'd have been the person like, what are y'all egging him on to say it for? He says it in private already. But you need him to say it to our faces? For what? And see, this is the kind of shit right here. Excuse my French, but this right here. This is why we had it was an Asian girl, young girl on TikTok yelling about how, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I mean, they dragged her up and down those TikTok
I saw that
streets.
one. Yeah.
It was even members of the Asian community that was telling her, stop using that word. No. And she's like, I don't care what nobody's talking about. It's that right there when we minimize the history, the pain, the blood, the trauma behind that word. Exactly. I don't use that word at all. And see, I work. Me and Solid has spoken privately. She knows that I work in a predominantly white male setting. The things that I hear them say, they refer to an Asian man as an Oriental and as a slant. I said, I told them, I said, you continue to expose yourself to me, don't you? Right. What does that mean? I said, if he's a slant and an Oriental,
what am I?
Beaners, what am I when my back is turned? I said, I can just about imagine what you say. And then we had a conversation about the word, and I looked at him and I took my glasses off. I said, say it. Say it. Say what? Say it. I dare you. Say it. Well, I don't understand what the problem is. It's just a word. Then say it.
Then say it. Right. Exactly. Say it. Say it.
Say it.
Say it.
I said, there's a reason why you're not allowed to say it. I said, it's so funny. We can come up with words for white people. Cotton, colonizer, milk, everything. But there is still no word that we can come up with that is as painful as the N-word.
That's right.
None. And it's almost like when you tell a kid they can't have something, they want it more. they wanted more. You give him permission to say, you saw him. He was like, nobody's going to hit me. Yeah, I'd have hit you.
Well, see, but the thing about it is to have him on their show. Okay, that's fine. You want to have him on the show, but use it as a moment, as a teaching moment. Use it as a moment where, to say, well, exactly why do you feel this way? Whatever, instead of encourage him to say, to degrade you even more. So that's the stuff that pisses me off.
That could have been a teachable moment.
It could have been a teachable moment because, I mean, I personally, I don't know how Lloyd feels about it, but on my other show, whatever, I want to have a white nationalist on the show because I want to know, why do you feel this way? Why do you feel that you're better than me? I mean, just tell me. And they say whatever, all right, but do you think I'm going to sit here and say, okay, yeah, by the way, you want to say the N-word? Come on, say it. Thumbs up.
But no. Solid, they're not going to say that, though. That's what they're never going to say in your face they feel like they're better than you.
Well, you know what? But you know what? And but if someone's giving you the opportunity to say why you feel something, then take it. I mean,
but they're going to talk in general. They're going to.
I know. What
they're trying to say is, they'll say, white people don't do this, but black people do that. They're going to speak in general terms.
I know they will,
and not understand the weight of the systems and institutes that allowed them to have that step up. So they'll never. No white person will ever come into your space and say, I'm better than you because I'm white. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to say that we were prescribed the superiority place in this world. Basically, they're going to talk in words of caste, not racism. And which they don't understand that caste is racism. And that's what they'll do.
Okay. I recently did a video. I can't remember which president it was that said it. But he said, you convince the lowest white man that he is better than the best, highest black man.
Yep.
And you got him. And I referenced Barack Obama. I said, Barack Obama, president of the United States, 2 terms, college educated, family man, no scandals. Take all the conspiracy theory bullshit out of it. And you had white men who couldn't rub 2 nickels together, calling him the N-word and calling him a monkey. They still minimized and degraded this man and his accomplishments because they have been convinced that they are the default setting. That's why the finish line gets further and further and further away. And these black people on their platform, I would love, because I love a challenge. Because I would love to be on that podcast. And I'll ask them, so how you going to feel in a sundown town when you ain't got to tell them to call you the N-word? They're going to call you the N-word and string you up. Is that going to be funny too? Because it's not. We constantly fight this battle about this word. Constantly. And sometimes you have to give merit to what is being said. You don't see Hispanics walking around calling each other the S word.
Well, Drez, I don't know if it was on your TikTok, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to put this together because I'm trying to figure out because this TikTok just pissed me off with the one with the white dentist. The white dentist who one of his black patients said to him, "You're my nigger." And the white dentist thought that, well, since he said it to me, then I feel it's okay for me to say it. And the responses from I was reading the comments, and black people were like, well, yeah, that's fine. We welcome you in. No, we don't welcome you in. No, that's the shit that pisses me off.
That's right.
When I get pissed. Okay.
We are willing to. We are way too willing to give grace.
Yes, we are.
We are.
We're too willing to say I forgive when we get shot. The first thing we will say, well, I forgive you. I don't forgive you. I'm sorry. I'm not that good of a Christian. I do not forgive you. I do not, because you keep doing the same shit over and over and over. I don't forgive you. So
they want to forgive the white dentist for saying the N-word, but y'all still mad that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock at the damn Oscars. Give that same grace to the people who look like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, well, Will Smith is a sellout. So what? Give him the same grace that you would give somebody else. You know what I mean? It's sickening. And it just keeps us back.
But I've said this before, though, right? And I think it still holds true. And I think the consciousness of the word is taking more root today than it was yesterday. What I mean by that is I remember growing up on the streets of San Diego and in your different sectors of the city, especially if you in your gang sectors, especially in the gang members, when you had Latino, or what we say in California, Mexican gang members who hung out with black people, a lot of times they would give them that, what they call the ghetto pass, to say certain words in rap music. Because we all listen to NWA. And if you listen to NWA, let me tell you something about a nigga like me. Never should have been let out the penitentiary. Ice Cube would like to say. And I mean, that's what we listen to. And when your Mexican friend was saying it with you, there was a time when it was okay because of our consciousness had not come all the way fruition at the time.
It wasn't okay for me. It's never
no, I'm just saying. No, there was in minority communities, and we all had, and I know we're the ones who tokenize, but even black people had their token white friends, Eminem, and you had your Eminem that hung out with you, that or even black girls had their little white friend girl that hung out with them, and they all were given certain ghetto passes at times. I'm not trying to say I gave them ghetto passes, but we all throughout all neighborhoods. That's why they say the word, depending on where you're at, is going to get you in trouble, because some people were given those passes in the neighborhood that they grew up in, but they don't understand that pass stops at the borders of where your friends are. Therefore, you might have been able to say it with the homies. But now they took their pass and thought that they could take their pass like a bus transfer and take it to someone else's neighborhood. And then when they get popped in the lip, then they be like, but no, you can't say that over here. But whose fault is that? Because I guarantee there's some people in their neighborhood that will fight for them. Seriously, there's people in their neighborhood that will fight for their white friend and say that, I don't care if they say that, that's my friend. That's what they do.
But
so I'm just saying.
I hear you. I hear you. And growing up, I had my white friends, whatever. But they never got ghetto passes. And when they tried to go there, oh yeah, they got their ass whooped. Sorry. No.
Sean, did you grow up in a predominantly black neighborhood?
Absolutely not.
All right, you didn't? Okay. But have you ever heard of the ghetto pass?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yeah.
I'll dread after, but go ahead, Sean. Tell me about the ghetto pass and what you heard about the ghetto pass.
So that pass afforded you the ability to say things that you would not normally say outside of that circle.
Dread, have you ever had friends that had the ghetto pass growing up?
I did not.
And where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. New Jersey, East Orange, New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl to my heart. We went to school with white kids, with Puerto Rican kids. And I will say that we were more lenient toward the Latinos, the Puerto Rican kids, everything else, because, black and brown, we share the same struggle. You go to any prison system, right. Who's there? Who's predominantly there? Black and brown people.
That's right.
But a lot of even the Latino kids didn't want to use the word because they're like, nah, bro, you know, we know the history behind that word. You know, they didn't want to use it. And now that I live where I live, I have quite a few white friends, and where I live, I'm telling you, the mulatto kids is mulattoing, okay? It's a chocolate and vanilla swirl, and a lot of one of my best friends that live here, all of her children are by black men, and she's a white woman, and that word is forbidden in her home. She does not allow her children. She's like, I don't care if you are half black, you're not going to use that word because the other part of you, the history behind that word, no, you will not use that word.
Right, but what I'm saying is that history of the word. I think it's universal what the history of it is, right? It's universal. But growing up in certain places, I can tell you right now, growing up in the West Coast, they do not have a deep understanding of the South. I can tell you that right now. Growing up on the West Coast in San Diego, I'm telling you right now, I was ignorant of the South. Growing up, we understood something happened there. Hey, oppression, racism. We all knew about the Dr. Kings. We all knew about the Malcolm X. We all knew about different things. But the thing is, the history of the N-word was not entrenched into our growing up in our belonging. Once again, school was whitewashed. So we knew the N-word was bad. Everyone knew it was bad, but they didn't understand the condensation of it. So when it came out in rap music, and then you had your sect of your friends that got the ghetto pass. I tell you, I probably had one white friend growing up that had a pass. Maybe one. I can't even remember who it is, but we always had that guy we always called White Mike. You know what I'm saying? Who we thought, who if you're a black person, we say, man, Mike is more black than you are. And then you get a black man, what you talking about, man? Yeah, I mean, he's more black than you. He's more hood than you. I mean, you always had that one white guy who you gave a ghetto pass to that you call more black than the black person. And it was just growing up.
But saying that they're more black, whatever, you're not giving them a ghetto pass that they can go there. You're not going to cross that line. You're not going to go there. You're not allowed to do that.
No, they were able to cross certain lines.
No, well, then that's the difference between us, because you are not crossing that line with.
What I mean is within your circle.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying if you're listening to NWA, you're listening to certain music and you're quoting it, and even to the point where they might even come up and say, "What's up, my nigga?" I'm talking about they ain't got passes to do that.
No,
okay, but even here on the East Coast, we had, who are our New York rappers? We have DMX. We have if we're just talking East Coast, DMX. We had Tupac. We had Biggie. We had Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm well versed in the South because my family originates from Florida.
Real quick. We claim Tupac on the West. Just thought I'd let you know that. But go ahead.
But Tupac was born. Yeah, that's fine. But we bump him over here. And as an East Coast person, the fact that I prefer Tupac to Biggie, I lose my East Coast pass. But we grew up, we all listen to the N-word because, as people love to point out, it's a part of hip hop culture, that word. So that word gets thrown around in Newark, New Jersey, in the 5 boroughs of New York. We have Ludacris. We're well versed in the South because a lot of us who live in New York and New Jersey, our families come from there. My family comes from South Florida. My great grandfather came from Louisiana. He was a full-blood indigenous man with jet black hair and gray eyes. So my family, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama. I know the history of the South. So I got called the N-word in a mall for the first time when I was 9 years old. Little white girl looked at her mother and said, "Hey, mommy, look at those niggas' hair." She looked at me and my mother and said that. Yeah. And her mother was mortified. And that was my first stint of racism and being called the N-word. And I was like, even at 9 years old, I was ready to knuckle up. Because I was like, oh no, I know Polly Pocket didn't just call me the N-word.
You know, I mean, I'm sorry, Sean, go on.
No, did it happen in the South?
It did. It happened in North Carolina.
So it's funny because in the South, the pass is used against you. And what I mean, the pass is a setup. So what black men will do over here is they'll be like, yeah, man, you're cool. You can say it. Right? I will hear it first times. And then once they said it, and they never said that word again.
Yeah, I bet.
So in the South, it's a setup. In the South, you're going to get your ass kicked once somebody says, "Oh yeah, you got the pass." They're waiting. They're waiting for you to say it. So,
but see, that's where I think black people are wrong, because it's like, no, you don't give them the pass, and like Dr. Ritchie said, you teach people how to treat you. So if you're giving that person that pass, and y'all kids, when they get older, they're going to keep using it, whatever, and they're going to think that it's okay. It's not okay, and that's the problem that I have with us. It's not okay. The ghetto pass is not funny. It's not cute. But then again, that's just me. In my household, we didn't throw around the N word, or else my mother's foot or my father's foot would have been up your ass and through your mouth. You did not do that. And the people that I grew up with, my friends and everything, we did not do that. We did not do that. It was like, no, you do not behave like that.
Well, I'll tell you, my mom had strict things about we couldn't grow up. We couldn't grow up using that word either. In her presence. And I would say that, in other words, yeah, you didn't say that, but no, we said that. And that's what I'm saying. Our and I like what Ray Duckworth just said in the thing. She said West Coast behavior. We have different behaviors on the West Coast, and I can tell you that that there are. The first time I was called the N-word was not by a white person. First time I was called the N-word was by Latino, Hispanic, Mexican, whatever they want to call themselves. That's the first time, and it didn't come in the term of the N-word, hard N-word like that. It came in the term of another word called mayate, which means that. And then it transformed to actually saying that. So when it first come to me, you biti mayate, huh? I don't know what that is. Then when someone told me what it was, I was like, wow. Then it even came to a point where they would actually say it to us. And we had a lot of gang wars growing up. And it was a lot of Bloods versus the Mexican gangs. And those Mexican gangs would use those words to do that to you all the time. And so, you always, that like I said, I love the book talks about the troublesome past of the word, or the troublesome history, or the career of the word. And I think in that, and like I said, we all have different stories about how the word have impacted us, or where it's impacted us, from where we're from Jersey, from the South, from Chicago, from California. And we can all see just all where we're from. Think about it. Empath is from Jersey. Sean talking about the South. You're from Chicago. I grew up in the West Coast, and we all could talk about the troublesome word of the N-word coming from where we come from. But I can tell you the social consciousness of the word has truly taken a big change in the last 20 years. And that's where you get now. It is a taboo to even utter the word if you are not black.
I mean, but just the fact that we all know who Nick Fuentes is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then, I mean, where did these people go to school? Coon University with a major in shucking and jiving? Like, y'all really let a known white supremacist get up there and say the N-word, and then you cheer.
He went back home cracking up. I'm telling you, he went back home just laughing his ass off.
So this is,
and I'm like, the ancestors are not pleased.
No, they're not.
So this is the same gentleman who accompanied Kanye West to come down here to South Florida to meet with Trump.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kanye, that's a whole nother story.
I don't know. I think Clarence Thomas, Kanye West, Candace Owens, Tim Scott. I think we all have all labeled them the same thing. We put them on a boat, let it go. In fact, I think we should put them in one of them submarines that we still can't find the rest of the parts to.
But Candace and Clarence are by far those two are by far two of the most dangerous people for the African American community.
Yep. I'm sure I'm going to get some type of backlash. You said put them on one of them. Yeah, put them on one of them submarines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray Duckworth says, I wouldn't agree that the social construct of the word has changed.
That right there is black business, and I have no say in that.
Would say Ray said I would agree. What she said I would agree that the social construct of the word has changed. Oh yeah, I think it's changed a lot. I think it's changed a whole lot. I
think it's always been a taboo, and it remains a taboo.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you the funniest thing. I'm gonna tell you the funniest thing I ever did at work was I said it to their faces. I said, because they tried to talk about that black on black crime shit, and I said, you know what? I said that's a white supremacist talking point. I said, and when y'all are at home with your families watching the news, what do you say? I said, you call us a bunch of niggas, don't you? Look at them niggas. And you should have seen how those white asses clenched. If you had shoved a lump of coal up there in 2 weeks, you'd have a diamond. And I said, what are you twitching about? I said, I listen to y'all conversations. I know what y'all say behind closed doors. What you uncomfortable for? I said, are you uncomfortable about me saying the word, or are you uncomfortable at the fact that I know you use the word and you don't have the balls to say it to my face? And when I tell you they were hot under the collar, they gave a new meaning to redneck.
Wow.
They were so pissed off. And I said, you know why you have to say it behind closed doors? Because it's wrong. It's wrong. I said, when your ancestors were stringing my ancestors up, you were calling them that word. When you were dragging a black woman to the chambers to take her virtue, you were calling her that word. When you were cutting off limbs, you were saying that word. When you were cutting off the manhood of black men and taking it home for prizes, you were calling them that word. When Rosewood happened, when Tulsa happened, you were calling them that word. I said, see, it's not just a word. It's a painful reminder of a history that you failed to acknowledge, that you want me to forget about. And see, those black people on that podcast, they forgot and they disrespected the very people that ran for freedom, that got strung up, that got their virtue taken. You disrespected the very legacy of the people that were dragged here and born here into slavery by letting someone who would see you in those very chains again say that.
Absolutely. Ray says, I don't think it has changed. It had a purpose to separate blackness from whiteness. It has and always will be the last words Emmett Till heard.
Oh, that part.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, because it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. I mean, I think you would like to think that it has changed, but it hasn't. They're just like people who say, well, racism doesn't exist because Barack Obama, he sat in the Oval Office.
Facts.
Okay. And, things have not changed. Things have not changed. The only thing that has changed is the fact that we're not walking around in chains, so to speak. We're not out there picking that cotton, so to speak. But things have not changed. The first time I was the first time I was called the N-word was not the N-word. It was a pickaninny.
Oh.
I was 6 years old, and 5 cops busted down our front door because my father, who was a mail carrier, used to come home for lunch, and he would come and he would have the front door open, you know, when he was at home, and lived in a predominantly black neighborhood, but white cops would always patrol, whatever. And they saw the door open, rang the doorbell. My father went to the door, busted in, started to beat my father, saying he was robbing the house. My sister and I come out. We're crying like, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy!" My mother comes out of the bedroom trying to see what the hell is going on. And these cops tell my sister and I, "Y'all pickaninnies need to shut up and be quiet." And then they called my mother the N-word while my father was on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I have had teachers in school, going to predominantly white school, have had teachers who came this close to calling me the N-word, because I was always the one with the mouth, telling them that's not fair. You can't do this. I'm going to tell my mother, because my mother always went to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, whatever. You know, it's like things have not changed. They have not changed. So I don't care if you live in the South, the North, the East, the West, whatever, things have not changed, because racism is still as rampant today as it was back then. The only difference is they're not allowed to do certain things, but they still do those same things.
Change and evolved are two different words. Racism in itself has not changed, but being racist has evolved. And what we see as being racist is an evolution. The evolution of overt to covert. It's an evolution. Just like today, everyone, all racist people will outwardly condemn a person walking into a grocery store and shooting and killing black people. Everyone will say that's bad, but at the same time, those same people will vote against processes and institutions that will stop black babies from dying at an early rate, that will give health care, that will give housing to black people or marginalized groups. So the fact is, racism of overt and covertness have evolved. One, like I said, everyone right now will sit there and say the Ku Klux Klan is bad. This is bad. But at the same time, they'll sit there and say, hey, well, black babies are dying. I'm gonna vote to make sure they keep dying. So just because because you can't see the vote, you know, we can't see what they vote for. So, but we can see what they say. So that's what I'm saying. Racism has always been there, and of course that has never changed. But I think the way that we see it has evolved, just like the dog whistle of Rand Paul when he says about the basketball players. He didn't come out and say black people are making money, we got to stop them because we're going to be seeing more rappers. But when he says basketball players, and you look at the demographic of basketball players in the NCAA that are making money are black, you don't have to say black. All you have to say is, I don't want to see rappers. I don't want to see rappers dribbling basketballs. I want to see basketball players. When you say that and then say they're driving these cars, you're literally starting saying the black community of basketball players should not be getting paid. That's it. That's the dog whistle. He didn't have to say black, but we know what he meant.
Oh Lord,
a play on words.
That's why I
what
say.
They do.
Go on, Sean.
That's what they do. That's just like I said. They're using the English language to say the things that they want to say, but without saying the words that hurt, right? Because if he were to say, if we didn't have such and such on the basketball court, it would be a wholesome game again, right? Because that's what he really wants to say. Like,
but just think though, Sean. But if those people were not on the basketball court, would those basketball courts be making all that money?
Oh, absolutely not. That's the reason. See, that's the reason why they are letting these stipends, these contracts to allow these guys to provide financial support to their families, because they know, well, our jerseys don't sell, our merchandise doesn't sell, our tickets don't sell if these black men and these black women aren't playing in these sports dominated areas. I mean, of course, the bottom line for them is money. So how can we make the money that we already make and then allow them to make their own money without us having to give up the money that we make off of them? You see where I'm going?
That's right.
That's what it really comes down to.
Plantation.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I have such an aversion to football, right? I love the game of football, but like I said, it is a very awkward space to be in because we literally saw Colin Kaepernick make a huge statement in a white dominated owned football league,
right,
and then make him a villain when all he was saying was, hey, I want to protest this because I believe in this. And he had every right to do so. And when people talk about, oh, he's kneeling during the anthem, it's disrespectful. I mean, I always go back to it like, have you actually seen his story? Do you know anything about Colin's story? And if you do, you know that he went and spoke with former military members and asked them, what can I do while I'm protesting during the anthem that won't make it disrespectful? And he was getting a resounding take a knee.
Take a knee.
That's right.
Because when they go to honor their fallen brothers and sisters, they take a knee out of respect. But it goes to show the NFL didn't give a damn about racism. Nobody. Because what did they do? They put a bunch of end racism on the back of some helmets, maybe in the end zone, right?
That's right. That's what they did.
But Colin Kaepernick will never touch a football again, will he?
Nope.
But meanwhile,
I mean, he touches a football every day. Every day he's out there practicing as if he's going to get signed to a team. And you know what? I really hope somebody does take the heroic step and allow him to walk back out onto a football, because that's the thing with white supremacy. If somebody were to say, hey, I'm going to take a stand against the NFL and allow him to come onto our team and wear our uniform, do you know how, I mean, not even just sports media in general, it would be like one of the biggest stories to ever break in our culture.
Yeah, it'd be a great story, but come on. We all know that, and I'll say it like this, and I don't care whatever, but we all know them plantation owners, and we all know that they already have a deal with each other. We all know, just like when Virginia codified a law, South Carolina would adopt that same law, and then the rest of the southern states would adopt those same laws. Hey, it's codified already. We will never let this man say get another down again. And guess what? And anyone that does it, you will be blackballed. Something will happen to you. So and they don't have to even say it. Any of them coaches, and all it says, hey, we'll make it look. We'll give him opportunity. Say he'll come and throw a ball around this and that. But guess what? If anybody ever signs him to a contract, knowing damn well we got some washed up ass scrubs playing still in this league, and we don't care. If you sign, this dude almost won a damn Super Bowl at one point.
He did. It was the 49ers and Ravens.
Ravens, right? Almost won a damn Super Bowl. And you're trying to tell me that this and now today, even when they were talking about it, they'll sit there and try and put his numbers up. Oh, he was washed up. Just stop. And so it's and y'all, I tell you, we definitely got to have you two back. This open this. I mean, I think solid maybe once a month we should, or once every couple months we should have this open conversation. And I tell you, these two have got to come back.
No, they're definitely coming back. I mean, I'm excited for the people that we're having in 2 weeks. it's like, and Dress, I love you, girl. So, but yeah, I mean, I just want to keep it real. Just keep it, like I say, people may get pissed off at me. I don't care. But I'm just trying to let everybody say what they want to say and not have to go behind closed doors and whisper and, just put it out there and say it, so, but anyway, guys, that's it.
Always a pleasure.
No, this
So,
is fun.
All right.
I'll tell you this. We've had a lot of shows. This has got to be probably this is probably my favorite show.
Your favorite show? Okay.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
has been fun. I mean, just hearing the different talk and the different, I mean, this has been fun. This has been really fun.
Okay. Well, guys, the next show will be on the 29th of July. And we're going to talk about why America is so divided. We are going to have the potential guests. They're still looking at their schedules. One who has recently moved to Australia is a conservative, and the other one lives in Florida. And she is a transgender female who has been on Friendly Differences. This will probably be her 4th time back. She's never been on with Lloyd. She was on with my previous host. But I really like her. She is very open, and she says stuff that's like, damn. So, but anyway, thank you everyone for coming. And
stay queued up now. Stay queued up because we might need y'all to come up in there and talk about that too.
So, anyway, as always, how we end the show with Miss Angela Bassett. Peace. Bye, everyone. Thank you for giving up your Saturday.
Thank y'all so much.
All right.